Just about 1 year ago, Michael Mann walked into the U.S. Attorney's office and met with federal prosecutors and FBI agents to share what had occurred over the past 6 years with his businesses. Today was the next step in that process where Michael admitted his guilt and accepted responsibility for his actions. The next phase of this case is going to be the one that I always had thought would be the most important, which is the sentencing phase. In connection with that, I am going to submit on Michael's behalf a very comprehensive and robust and hopefully compelling sentencing memorandum for Judge Koenig to consider. And in that memorandum, I'm going to detail and highlight the many factors and considerations that courts can and do use in fashioning an appropriate, fair, and just sentence. And many of those factors will go to mitigation of what the sentence is going to be. So we look forward to submitting that in the coming weeks and months to Judge Koenig, and we'll have to see, because ultimately, as the judge said, the sentencing is his discretion, but we're going to give him a much more complete and broader picture of Michael Mann and his life, because it's not just what you heard in court today.
So then what is the range?
Well, you heard the range, Dan, but again, under the sentencing guidelines, Judge Koenig can do whatever he wants. After the United States Supreme Court case called Booker, the guidelines are advisory, and they're the starting point, but judges are free to take into account whatever considerations they want to under a variety of statutes and the guidelines. And we're going to make all those compelling arguments to the judge.
Does that range the 300-something months? That was just confusing because there were multiple conditions, and they said 200 months.
It is confusing. That's a function of how the sentencing guidelines operate, and if you want to call me later, I'll be happy to go through more of the guidelines operations with you, but those are the numbers that, are the guidelines ranges. But again, the court's going to be able to consider a whole host of factors, including the guidelines. This case I was talking about with Dan, the United States versus Booker, what it did was it made these United States sentencing guidelines advisory. Historically, they were mandatory, and judges could very rarely deviate from them. After the United States Supreme Court called Booker, and I think it was in 2005, the guidelines became advisory, not mandatory. Every judge must start with the guidelines, but it's just a starting point, and then they can take into account a whole bunch of factors.
Michael, will all of the victims be made whole?
And I can't answer that today.
Does Mr. Mann have $101 million for restitution?
Well, no. But, look, he's going to be credited for the things he is forfeiting, as you heard in court, and he's going to make the best he can. And look, from the very beginning, Dan, as you know, Michael always started by going to meet the U.S. Attorney's Office. His goal was to cooperate and make as much right as he could make right based upon his conduct, and he's going to continue to doing so.
And what is your message to the businesses, people who were affected by this? People who are going to watch this on
I'm going to leave that for others. My job is to represent my client, which I have done and will continue to do the best of my ability. And everybody, the people who've been affected are going to, seek remediation through whatever means they can. And we're going to be cooperative with them. But it's for them to speak on that behalf, for me to only speak on behalf of Mr. Mann.
Michael, is the motive of your client's crimes relevant here?
I'm looking forward to submitting a sentencing memorandum to Judge Koenig, and I think that question will better be answered that way. All right, listen, everybody, enjoy the rest of the summer. I'll talk to you all soon.